Today's story. First of all, I want to just fine-tune yesterday's story because it wasn't written precisely. And so therefore I did a bit of research. The story is with Shalom Bar Kalmanson. He's the son, one of the sons-in-laws of Herschel Zeitlin. His wife recently passed away. So he's a shliach in Cincinnati. As we know, Cincinnati, that was the bastion of reform movement, their platforms, etc. So he actually first started out his shlichus here. He became principal Beisifka, and he built it up very rapidly, and then he was involved in starting Pardes Chana, and then came the offer to go to Cincinnati, and he was, as we shared with you, he was concerned, the very strong, many organizations there, particularly reforms, are very strong, and this is what the Rebbe said to him. It's not written precisely. He said to him, again, the story of the Tzemach Tzedek, that Lilienthal, Dr. Max Lilienthal became Max Lilienthal, the founder of the reform in the United States. So after the whole failure in Russia in 1843, as I mentioned, there was some financial, so he left, came to America, and he said to him, so there will come a shliach of an einikel of Tzemach Tzedek, meaning himself, not that the shliach is the einikel, the Rebbe is the einikel. The shliach of an einikel of the Tzemach Tzedek, the grandson of Tzemach Tzedek, will continue the battle with the grandchildren of, metaphorically, of Lilienthal and bring about the desired victory, which is happening, and that's through being makad of them, illuminating them. And as you know, many stories of the last couple of decades where prominent reform rabbis became the Baba Chassidim. Amazing stories. Amazing stories. One of the most prominent is Herbert Wiener, who wrote this exquisite book called 9.5 Mystics, and visited all the Chassidic courts, including the Rebbe, and writes about that at length, and eventually became a Chassid. And the Rebbe encouraged him to remain a Reform rabbi. He wanted to leave it. He should remain a rabbi and then inspire his congregation from within. And others recently in Manhattan, he's been speaking, I haven't seen his name lately, I forgot his name, but there's a Reform rabbi in Manhattan, big Pashat Tzitzel Chassidus, and became Chassid. This is now, he learns in the Kollel there, in I think Metzger's Kollel, and many other examples. And that's all through that's our Aveda. Okay, today's story. Now, where is it? I just lost it. It's a long story. It's late now. So maybe we'll just read this one. Purim Fabrengen, it's all tied in, everything's tied in. Of 1969, so Reb Shlomo Kunin, the head shliach to California, brought for the first time the key to the Chabad house of Los Angeles. This was historic because this was, as you'll hear, the very first Chabad house. So, and he was the first, and he coined this term, Chabad house. That's what he called it, Shlomo Kunin. So he's, standing there and he's explaining to the Rebbe what Beis Chabad means. It's for the students there that come throughout the week. So it's going to there'll be a library. There is a library there in a place where they could lodge Eshel. This is all in context of Avram making an Eshel, a place for lodging and food, a cafeteria. The Rebbe is listening very intently, of course. The Rebbe says, and what are the keys? He said, that's for you, Rebbe. I'm giving the Rebbe the keys. To which the Rebbe responds, I can read this on tape. To which the Rebbe responds, if you're giving me the keys, that means that I'm the balabas, I'm the owner. Yes, says Rabbi Kunin. The Rebbe continues. So the door, is it open or closed? He says, sometimes it's open, sometimes it's closed, it's locked. The Rebbe says, if the house belongs to me, it has to be always open. 24 hours. It shouldn't be closed. Then the Rebbe said, So he was there with one, I guess, the main donor or the donor standing next to him. So the Rebbe asked, which Chabad house is this? To which the donor says, there's only one. Don't be so humble, says the Rebbe. There'll be many Chabad houses, and they'll all bear the same name. Just like there is Gimbels. Gimbels was a big chain of stores. So when someone travels from one city to another and he buys something in one store, he knows to look up the telephone book. If he comes to another city, to look up this store, he's going to find that thing that he's looking for. So too, the Chabad houses were spread throughout the entire West Coast, to the south, and then to the east. And then the Rebbe raised his hand above like this and said, it's all said in English, and my hand will be on the doors of all the Batei Chabad, that they should be open day and night in order to bring men, women, and children to Yiddishkeit. And that was the beginning of the first base Chabad. No one dreamed that now we're talking about 4,000 or so, whatever, many thousands of Batei Chabad around the world. Have a wonderful day.